I think science is becoming increasingly important to some of the actions that we're taking in Alberta. And I'm talking here primarily about environmental science. We have to make big decisions on resources all the time. We're in a province that has 10% of Canada's population, but only 2% of Canada's water. So water is going to be a big limiting factor, as people who live in the southeastern part of Alberta already know. And we have big tracts of boreal forest that I can actually remember when there were very few roads in them, and they're just getting carved to bits. And we're told about all these good things and how they're going to put it all back, and things that just don't make sense scientifically. I figure that science ought to really put the facts on the table for people so they can make an informed decision that and understand what the repercussions are, not only for them and their pocketbook tomorrow, but for their children and grandchildren in the years to come. And this province takes some really disgusting approaches to those. We see them right now with these ads that the oil sands industry is running every Sunday called Mythbusters. They put out these myths like that we're digging these big pits, and they tell us that in 30 or 40 years it'll be just back the way it was. Uh, they've been at it 40 years. It hasn't happened. Why should we trust them now? And things like we're not polluting the Athabasca River with anything we do that just you know defies any science at all. There's a lot of science of how you bulldoze watersheds or burn them or other things that happen either as a result of industrial activity or natural disasters like forest fires. There's always increased chemical output for every chemical that's in that watershed, whether it's harmful or not. So to see them claiming this about these huge stripped areas just doesn't make any sense at all. So we actually did some investigations of things like that. Another is dioxins and PCBs from the oil from the pulp mills in the early 90s. I got into big trouble for the stance I took on that. Was responsible for getting Health Canada to come in and actually measure some fish, and as a result, they closed about 1,200 kilometers of river, which led to some dioxin-free pulping techniques. And now the river channels are back open. So, short term, there are people who are out to shoot the messenger rather than hear the unpalatable message. But in the long term, I think some of the older politicians started to see that, gee, maybe there's something to this ecology stuff. But I see the same thing happening now with the oil sands. There's just not a lot of truth in the advertising that we see. And I would like to see all of the facts on the table when we make these decisions. Maybe we'd make the same decisions, but we ought to at least know what we're doing. And that's where I think science has a big role, and not only in Alberta, but everywhere that there's resource extraction or other things that affect the natural landscape happening. People don't realize how important that natural landscape is to cleaning their air and cleaning their water. In the last 15 years ago, or so, that has become a big study. There's even a term for it. It's called ecosystem services. In the old way, where we'd strip a watershed and then hire some engineers to build a big filtration plant and chlorinate it so we can drink it, is just madness. We could preserve a few of the key features and key areas for much less money and get nature to do a lot of the cleaning and filtering for us and save a lot of money in the process. Instead, we're supposed to close our eyes to what nature does and think all of these machines are wonderful and all of the money that they're making is wonderful, even though the next generation has to come back and use a good part of that money to restore these systems after the damage that's been done. I think that's going to go very quickly in the next few years. People now realize, thanks to things like GIS and satellites and things, that there isn't another wilderness over the next hill and we just keep moving on. We've got all the wilderness. The country that we live in is the country that has to supply all of these necessities that we have, whether it's clean water or food or clean air or natural beauty to go and do some recreation in. So I think we're really at a transitional point, and I think science has an important role to play in that.